All right, so I'm here with Tom Groves, president of Equinox Agency. Tom, how you doing today?
Chris, great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Do you mind just giving just a quick, business card, the back of your business card overview on, who Equinox Agency is, kind of where you're located, what you guys do?
Equinox Benefits Consulting. Now we started out as Equinox Agency, but we now it's called Equinox Benefit Consulting, and we started about 15 years ago. We're in Lehigh Valley, Allentown, Pennsylvania, and so we have an office in Emmaus, right on Lehigh Street, the Auto Mile, and we've got between our two companies, Equinox and Streamline HR, which is a TPA, supports a lot of brokers throughout the nation. We have about 40 employees.
Awesome. And just hearing how you changed the name from Equinox Agency to Equinox Benefits Consulting, it's obviously evolved over time, right? And you didn't always have 40 employees. So I'm always interested in those early days. And everyone thinks you need to have kind of this huge plan and big setup to kind of start a business. But from what I understand, I mean, you guys started with one or two employees, right? Back in 2005.
Yeah, correct. We started with 2 employees. We had been at Highmark Blue Shield, and Highmark Blue Shield, great company, but I think they were going through some transition. I was a producer for Highmark. A new CEO came in and cut our compensation literally in half, probably more close to 60%. I had 2 little kids at home, and I said, cutting me that much, I might as well start at zero. So figured out how to do it, rolled it out, and just knew that we could probably do a really good job with the knowledge we had working for the carriers, and not just market once a year for a client, but service them throughout the year and keep them in compliance and up to date. And we kind of cut our teeth on the smaller groups, under 50, and built a great block of business. But now, as we've evolved and grown in the services each year, now our focus is really 50 to a couple thousand employees, and predominantly looking at open architecture, self-insured plans, and in-house underwriter, and a lot of services a lot of brokers don't have from day one. But you evolve and you grow, and I think we have a phenomenal offering that we're really pleased to be able to bring to our clients who we're consulting with. So
awesome. So you said you had 2 young kids when you were going through this process. Like, most people would look at that, because I had a similar setup where my wife was pregnant when I left, the carrier side, and most people would freak out and say that's not a good time to do something like that. What made you take the risk when you probably had the most uncertainty going on in your life with, a young family?
Yeah, my kids, I have a 21-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old son, and they were probably like 6, and she was like 6 and he was 3, somewhere around there. And, I'll give a lot of credit to my wife. She had utmost faith, and she said, don't worry, you can do it. I had a father who was entrepreneurial, and he always said, you got to work for yourself. You got to work for yourself. And he always said, you got to get into residual compensation. And, I said, well, insurance, that's it. And so when that change happened at Highmark, where they cut our compensation by 50%, I said, I know I can do a lot better and build a lot better services, offering multiple carriers and multiple options for my clients than just one. And then I really kind of hold the keys to the kingdom. My father said to me too, when I was younger, he said, no one will ever pay you what you were worth except yourself. I didn't understand that at 12 years old, but now after running a business for 16 years, I totally get that. So you got to sometimes take a leap of faith, and fortunately we were able to do it, and it was the best decision I ever made. So
it's good to have that support and other people telling you you can do it. So you're not the only crazy one thinking that it's going to work out.
Exactly.
So when you got going, I mean, you just start pounding the pavement. Like, how did you get those first clients? How did you market?
The funny thing is, I when I left Highmark Blue Shield, I kind of had a list of maybe 20 or 30 folks you thought, oh, for sure, they're going to come with us. Those ones were not the ones who came with us. Maybe one or two on that list. But doing, the networking, and you got to be able to be aggressive and pound the pavement, literally knock on doors and make cold calls and go to chamber events and go to SHRM events and get yourself involved in the community, get on boards and everything. But you got to pick up the phone, and you got to make that call and initiate. You got to ask for the order. What's the worst that can happen is they're going to say no. You're already at no. So you talk to as many people as you possibly can, and every 5 no's you get, you're going to get a yes, at least yes to quote, yes to talk to you, yes to sit down, and then some yes, I'm going to become an Equinox client.
So something we always say here is like speeding tickets, not parking tickets, right? So you're moving so fast, you're probably making mistakes, but I think there's, being aggressive probably rewarded you more than sitting back, right? Because at the beginning, you're not people are never just going to see your sign or an advertisement and just show up to you guys, right?
No, rarely do people call in and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you, even though we do have a sign out in front of our building, and thousands of cars go past that. When we first started, we were in the back of an obscure office building, so you gotta be able to ring the bell, not wait for the call.
Do you remember who your first client was?
Yes. It's funny because I was actually hanging out with him last night. So guy by the name of Charlie Kelly, who owns a company called Clark Systems, and they do internal signs for like hospital systems and big government buildings and everything like that. So still a client and a great guy. And there was a tie, really a close tie. We had another client called Offic Systems, Juan Carlos Vidal and Adriana De Francisco. They're a husband and wife team. They do high-end office furniture. So it was kind of like a day or two between those two, and they're both still clients, fortunately, and good friends. So yeah.